1945. The war ends. But across Europe, from Tunisia to Berlin, 1,800 steel monsters still sit abandoned, rusting, silent, waiting. The Tiger tank. For 4 years, this name struck terror into Allied crews. Its 88mm gun killed Shermans from over a mile away. Entire battalions were destroyed trying to stop just one. Now hundreds are scattered across the continent. What did the Allies do with Hitler's most feared weapon? The answer reveals a dramatic transformation, from unstoppable predator to scrap metal. The chaos hunt. As Germany surrendered, a frantic race began. American, British, and Soviet forces scrambled to locate every Tiger they could find before they vanished forever. The scene was chaotic. Tiger crews had sabotaged their own machines, desperate to keep them from enemy hands. Turrets blown off, engines destroyed, transmissions shattered. Others simply ran out of fuel in those final desperate weeks, their crews abandoning them where they stood. But the Allies managed to seize approximately 300 intact Tigers from German depots. At Kummersdorf testing ground near Berlin, investigators discovered Tigers in various states of completion. At Hillersleben, more intact examples sat waiting. In Bavaria, American forces raided Henschel factory facilities and found Tigers fresh from the production line. There was just one problem: moving them. Each Tiger I weighed over 50 tons. The Tiger II, a staggering 70 tons of steel and firepower. These behemoths clogged roads, broke bridges, and required specialized recovery equipment just to budge. Rail transport became the only viable option for long-distance moves. The Allied Control Commission issued immediate orders. Every German armored vehicle must be immobilized, weapons disabled, fuel drained. The hunt was on, but the logistics were a nightmare. USA testing nightmare. The United States had a score to settle. American tankers had faced Tigers in North Africa, Italy, and France. Every encounter ended the same way: burning Shermans and dead crews. Now, finally, they could understand why. Tigers were shipped across the Atlantic to Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland. One of the first had been captured in Tunisia back in 1943. By war's end, additional examples arrived from Europe, and American engineers prepared for the most comprehensive armor tests ever conducted. They set up captured Tiger hulls at various angles and distances. Then they opened fire. First, the 75mm gun, the standard weapon on most Sherman tanks. Engineers fired round after round at the Tiger's frontal armor. Nothing. The shells bounced off or shattered on impact. Even at close range, the 75mm couldn't penetrate. Next, the upgraded 76mm gun. Better performance, but still inadequate against the Tiger's sloped glacis plate. Most shots failed to punch through. Finally, the 90mm gun mounted on the late war M26 Pershing. This was different. The 90mm could reliably penetrate Tiger armor frontally, but only this heavy gun could do the job. The results were sobering. American ordnance officers documented everything: armor composition, welding techniques, metallurgy, internal spalling patterns. The Sherman, America's workhorse tank, simply wasn't built to fight Tigers head-on. These tests directly influenced the Pershing's upgrades and America's post-war tank development. The lessons learned at Aberdeen would shape American armor doctrine for decades. The Tiger had been defeated on the battlefield, but its influence on tank design was just beginning. British and Soviet scrambles. The British had their own painful history with the Tiger. From that first shocking encounter in Tunisia to the killing fields of Normandy, British crews had watched their Cromwells and Churchills explode at ranges where they couldn't even fight back. At Bovington, British engineers conducted exhaustive evaluations. They praised the legendary 88mm gun's accuracy and the exceptional quality of German optics. Test drivers noted the Tiger's surprising maneuverability despite its massive weight, but they also cursed the interleaved road wheel design. In muddy conditions, those overlapping wheels packed with debris and froze solid in winter, immobilizing the tank completely. The Maybach HL230 engine was powerful, but demanded constant maintenance. British reports documented every weakness: fuel consumption, transmission failures, the impossibility of field repairs without specialized equipment. Meanwhile, the Soviets were conducting their own brutal evaluation. No one had faced more Tigers than the Red Army. From Kursk to Berlin, Soviet tank armies had bled against German heavy tank battalions. Now it was their turn. Soviet trophy brigades moved methodically across occupied Eastern Europe, seizing every tiger they could find. Intact examples were shipped to testing grounds near Kubinka, outside Moscow. Soviet testing was ruthless. They fired captured German guns at tigers to map vulnerabilities. Then they turned Soviet weapons on them, 85mm, 100mm, and finally the massive 122mm gun. The 122mm smashed through tiger armor like a sledgehammer. Soviet engineers document exactly how to kill tigers most efficiently, and these lessons sparked immediate design changes. The IS-3 heavy tank incorporated tiger fighting tactics into its very DNA. Stalin himself took personal interest. He pushed Soviet designers to learn from German engineering while avoiding its weaknesses. Some captured tigers were even restored to running condition for propaganda parades, rolled through Red Square to demonstrate Soviet mastery over Nazi technology. The competition between the Allies grew intense. Everyone wanted the rarest examples: late production Tiger IIs, prototype variants, anything that revealed German engineering secrets. This scramble reflected growing tensions that would soon explode into the Cold War. The Great Scrap. By late 1945, the intelligence gathering was complete. The Allies had learned everything they needed from captured tigers. Now came the destruction phase. Between 1945 and 1948, the vast majority of surviving tigers were systematically eliminated. The Allied Control Council's directive was clear. Germany could retain no armored fighting vehicles, period. At Bergen-Hohne firing range in northern Germany, tigers became target practice. Allied tank crews finally got their revenge, firing at the armor that had terrorized them during the war. Turrets were blown off with explosives. Hulls were riddled with anti-tank rounds. The monsters were reduced to Swiss cheese. Thousands more were simply scrapped. Post-war Europe faced desperate metal shortages. Those thick armor plates were cut apart with torches and melted down for bridges, buildings, and reconstruction materials. The steel that once protected German crews now rebuilt cities they'd helped destroy. Economic necessity drove the scrapping frenzy. For communities recovering from war, dismantling nearby tigers provided employment and income. Scrap dealers paid good money for tiger components. But there were also environmental hazards. Abandoned tigers leaked fuel, oil, and other fluids that contaminated soil and water. Local authorities wanted them removed from farmland and waterways immediately. Some tigers that had been driven into rivers during combat were left in place, too difficult and expensive to recover. By 1950, the numbers were staggering. 99% of all tigers produced had been destroyed. Of 1,800 tanks built, fewer than 20 survived. Battlefield wrecks were buried or scrapped. Depot stocks were demolished. The systematic elimination was complete. The tiger was extinct. Survivors and ghosts. Today, only 6 to 8 complete tigers exist worldwide. The most famous is the running tiger one at Bovington in England. Captured in Tunisia in 1943, it's the only tiger in the world still capable of movement, though it runs rarely to preserve the irreplaceable machine. Kubinka Museum in Russia displays multiple examples, silent witnesses to the Eastern Front's brutal tank battles. La Glaise in Belgium has a king tiger abandoned during the Battle of the Bulge, now a permanent memorial. But ghosts remain. In the Rhine River and other waterways across Europe, underwater tiger wrecks still rest where they sank in 1945. Occasionally, droughts reveal them, or divers stumble upon these steel tombs. Each discovery generates worldwide interest among historians and collectors. The tiger's technical legacy echoes through Cold War tank design. American, British, and Soviet engineers incorporated lessons learned from tiger testing. Armor schemes, gun design, fire control systems, crew ergonomics. The monster influenced an entire generation of armored warfare. What if the tigers had fought on? What if Germany had the fuel, the crews, the logistics to sustain them? The question haunts military historians, but the reality is clear. The tiger's greatest weakness wasn't its design, it was sustainability. The few survivors that exist today are priceless artifacts worth millions. Each represents not just one tank, but an entire era of warfare that shaped the modern world. The tiger died in 1945, but its roar still echoes through military history. The monsters that haunted Allied nightmares were systematically erased, From 1,800 produced to fewer than 10 surviving. From feared battlefield weapon to museum relic in less than a decade. The Allies didn't just defeat the Tiger, they killed its legend by reducing it to scrap metal and target practice. Yet somehow, that legend only grew larger as the machines themselves vanished. Next up, the forgotten US tank that actually beat Panthers in combat. You won't believe what happened to it after the war. Should more Tigers be restored? Drop your thought in comments. If you found this story fascinating, like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more untold stories from World War II. Thanks for watching.